is real race talk from Texas. It's the Revved Up Sports Show. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Oh boy, here we go. Everybody get your popcorn because it's going to be a good show tonight. Yes, indeed, the Revved Up Sports Show, the original, the best, the one that started it all, Showtime. Bobby Chaffee right here, the Iceman, Rodney Rodriguez, that's that man right over there. I would say we have absolutely nothing to talk about, and it's going to be a boring-ass show, but I don't think that's going to be the case tonight.
No, it's not going to be. And again, you know, but the main thing to talk about is we usually have 3 guests on the show, and we always put somebody in at 45, and we kind of held off on that just because of, you know, things that we need to talk about. But I will tell you, 7 p.m., Dylan Alasko, guys. How about that? I mean, everybody's all excited about all the other stuff, but Dylan Alasko, and then Marcus Hartcrow with the Baby Blue that's coming up this weekend at Heart of Texas Speedway. So plenty on the docket. I think that we have to talk about, my friend, and I'm looking forward to that part as well as everything else.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. That's gonna be, I would say, maybe a little dramatic.
Well, and look, all right, so let's dive in here.
Should we let the cat out of the bag? I mean, for the people that don't know what we're talking about, which is probably some, but not all.
Well, and here's my whole thought with this. You know, I've had folks that are reaching out to me, and it's a matter of, you know, folks that need to be interviewed and whatever. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't. Obviously, we're talking about everything that happened at CBS this past weekend, and it is so much more than that to me about what happened at CBS. Because Bobby, I don't know if it's one of those things to where we get into a race weekend and I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm fired up. There's going to be great dirt track racing. There's going to be all and pavement too. All the great racing on Saturday. I don't know if I get excited about the racing on Saturday, and then I go to bed on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning, and I'm like, holy shit! I know that when I wake up tomorrow, the crap is going to hit the fan, because that is exactly what happens right now.
That's exactly what happened. Period. Not just
this weekend.
Yeah.
Not just this.
Oh
weekend.
yeah. Well, you can always tell who had a good night and a bad night based upon the post on Facebook. Like, you don't even necessarily need to be at a racetrack to have a play-by-play. You see one side, you see the other, so you know basically if you get down the middle, that's probably what happened.
Well, and here's the whole thing, and we'll get to the elephant in the room here at some point. But Texana Raceway Park had a great night. And there was still, at the end of the night, there were still things there where people were checking in and straight to the negative. And that's something that drives me up the wall. I totally get it. I've been in that driver's seat. I have been, you know, whether I did something wrong or somebody wronged me, it's, yes, it pisses me off. But it's one of those things to where, you know, back in the day when I was a full-time racer, we didn't have the avenue where everybody goes straight to here. You know, it's kind of one of those things to where I sit here and I'm like, you know, we have made a living out of this show by being on Facebook and being on Twitter and being on the Instagram and being in all these different places, to where social media has really driven this show into being one of the best national shows in the fucking world, to be honest with you, when it comes to short track racing. But everybody immediately to that. And with the Texana thing, I understand that there were problems that happened that night, but I mean, damn it! Let's find a better way to handle this.
There were way more positives than negatives at Texana for sure.
And the whole thing is, I've said this so many different times, to where your customers are watching this, and you have prospective people that want to be a part of this, and they see this shit, and it's like, I don't think I want to be a part of that redneck show or that shit show or whatever you want to call it. And apologies to all the rednecks out there. I'm a Mexican dude, and sometimes we Mexicans do some stupid shit as well. And that's really the thing that drives me crazy, is there's got to be a better way. Every now and then, it's okay to say, my goodness. I mean, for me, here, the other night for me racing. I sucked. I was horrible. But you know what? I had a really good time. But I don't race all the time. I'm not a competitive. I'm not IMCA points, and I'm not in the dwarf car point standings or whatever. But I had a great time. I was running neck and neck with people, and shit happened that pissed me off. If you would have had the people wanted me to be mic'd up in the race car, if you'd have had me mic'd up in the race car, you'd have been you'd have been like, okay, this guy's an asshole, because I was pissed.
You'd have been disappointed. Well, I mean, I say disappointed. They might have been really entertained by some of the stuff you were saying.
I'm sure they would
lap
have.
one. Yeah.
I'm sure they would have. And thank you guys for all the good words. I mean, to me, it was all about having a good time. And I know, and I totally get that when we get to guys that are guys and ladies doing this all the time, you people forget that this is all about fun. I mean, unless you have folks that are pumping a bunch of dollars in, and you're planning to go, race in the ASCS, dirt late models and all this stuff, we are our own worst enemy.
Always have been.
And this weekend was never a bigger example. I mean, between what I saw with Texana, obviously what I saw at Cotton Bowl, I saw some shit at the heart of Texas, and again, I'm not excluding the drivers from this. I mean, and I'm not saying that when it comes to drivers, I mean, you guys too, you need to be a hell of a lot smarter with what the hell you're doing, because you make us all look bad. You make us all look bad. We make us all look bad, and I told Owen Pittman this Sunday morning. We were having we had a phone call as he was going off to do whatever, and I'm like, dude, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed when I see shit that happens, and I've done embarrassing things, and we get on this show, and I say shit where I'm embarrassed. I go back and watch this, but man, we have got to be better. Got to be better.
It's got to be out there. Although I will give Owen credit in the drivers' meeting. That's the one thing he said. Make sure you go out and you have fun. Don't forget to have fun when you're doing this.
Well, and that's the whole thing, because ain't none of us going to retire doing this unless somehow we figure out a way to be able to do that. And it is a very select few that get to do this. But I'm going to it. I'm going to it. The Cotton Bowl situation. And I have talked to so many different people today. And it's not a matter of where I want to hear either side. I mean, I've heard what I've heard. But here's the thing. Here is the thing. When you have, and I've talked to parties involved on both sides. When you have people that are going out there and almost volunteering, to
pennies on the dollar,
right? I guarantee you,
we've been there. Pennies on the dollar,
right? There is not a track official that's going out there doing this shit for a living. They're going out there because they love this. When you have that happening, and here's, I mean, to me, I got a text. Seriously, Bobby, to me, I was on cloud nine after racing on Saturday night there at Texana with the two opportunities that I had to get in the race car and get out there and have fun. And you did a great job, by the way, with everything you did. But I get a text at whatever time 2:30 on Sunday morning, telling me what had happened at Cotton Bowl, and it's one of those things to where it's like, okay. You have to dig in.
You text me right away, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay."
You dig into this because it's like, wait a minute here. I mean, am I really reading what I'm reading? And this is, I don't care to know. I don't want to hear the back and forth. I don't want to hear the finger pointing. I don't want to hear any of that bullshit. What I'm here to tell you is that you have, and I think, to me, and I've talked to the parties involved. To me, if this had not been, and again, it's not right no matter what. Had this not been Marianne Nauman, a staple. I mean, shit. I mean, she has given us a lot of opportunities.
And us and other people.
Yeah, and I mean, I wish that I could go race or call her races and do whatever. I mean, she gave me a start in this, and it goes way back, and she's my friend. I mean, she is my friend, and some of the other people are involved. They're my good friends also. So I'm not here to point blame, and I know that you're not either. But you can't go out and let stuff escalate to that extent.
No.
Not
Racing is very emotional, right? The sport is, because you have to have a lot of emotion in that race car. You got to have a lot of adrenaline and everything else. But you can't be too emotional when it comes to racing outside of that race car, right? Everybody gets your emotions wound up. We've both been there. I mean, I remember seeing red and had one of my teammates slap me upside the helmet with a damn socket wrench. It said, calm down, and it worked. But not everybody has that teammate that's going to slap them upside the head and say, calm down. So,
right.
Inside that race car, it's a split-second decision on what you got to do. There's guys that are a little more aggressive than maybe they should be, guys and gals to some extent. But it definitely, when you get out of that race car, you have to have a different mindset. I mean, everybody's watching everything you do in that race car. Everybody's watching everything you do when you get out of that race car. And you have to remember, as simple as it sounds, it's just like back in elementary school. You've got to learn to control your emotions.
Well, and here's the other thing, and I saw right there where Wade just checked in right there. So when I hear all this is going on, I'm like, this has to be over, a modified race or sport mods or whatever. No offense to anybody, but when you get over there and you get all twisted up over what do they call them? Mini stocks? I mean, whatever.
Whatever. Everybody knows what we're talking about.
That's an entry level class, and a lot of times that is where it just makes everything look so bad, because that's a lot of drama that doesn't need to happen. And when I understand that when these drivers do what they're going to do, and again, that's a big part of the problem right there. I mean, we can sit here and dissect this whole situation as to what happened after the fact, but it comes to the loose wheel behind the damn
loose nut behind the
wheel.
wheel.
Loose nut behind the wheel. I mean, that's where a lot of that happens, and it all comes down to, in this situation. I mean, I know that there are folks that are not going to be racing in various places. And again, a lot of those folks are my friends, but I'm here to tell you, when you do have racetracks and you do have sanctioning bodies, whatever it's going to be, that are going to converge together. I mean, maybe that's the way that you stop this, because we see it in pavement racing all the time, to where guys do really boneheaded shit, and it's like, well, okay, come on over. You're barred from ASA. Come on over to SRL, and we'll let you right in. And I think that's part of the problem, and it shouldn't be a situation to where racetracks need to be honing in on hey, come on over. It needs to be. We need to be unified. We need to be unified.
Some kind of consistency needs to come out of this,
and I think that's where we're going to be able to resolve this. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not, like I said, I know both sides of all of this, and I'm not saying who's right or wrong. Shit, I wasn't there. I wish I'd have been.
Yeah, it sounds like we needed to be there instead of Texana.
Yeah, I wish I'd have been to see exactly what happened. But it really comes down to, I mean, let me tell you something. You don't, I'm not going to say her age, but you don't go knock somebody out over something like that. I mean, it's one thing, the racers. That's the one thing I always loved about Houston. You know the guy, the official, the security guy. That he's like, look, if you guys are going to get pissed off, y'all can go to the Dollar General.
Go to Dollar General. Fight in the parking lot.
Go to Dollar General and beat the living shit out of each other, and y'all have at it. Just have at it. It doesn't need to be that way. And again, I mean, there's folks checking in here. This is not something to where we need to be having people laid out. I mean, that to me, that's the biggest problem. I don't know.
I think the problem is that some of it's the Bowman Gray effect, right? You get to see all the highlights of all those people at Bowman Gray fighting and pulling hair, fighting in the grandstands, all that good stuff. We saw it at Hickory. There's no place for that kind of shit.
Yeah,
it makes us all look bad when you see that kind of stuff happen up at Bowman Gray and over in Hickory, where they're fighting in the spotter stand, calling the law on each other and all of that. We both know racing's expensive. Hell, everybody knows. Everybody that's chiming in either had a race car or has a race car knows how damn expensive it is. And yes, we get it that it's expensive and you don't want to get your shit tore up. but it is a contact sport. You're occasionally
Sure.
going to make contact with each other. It just, the problem is if it's the same person doing the same contact over and over and over, that's when it kind of becomes the problem.
Well, and the bad thing is, to me, for this whole situation, is that you have had folks right now, and this is where we go back to talking about dirt track racing, is to where you have folks that now are not going to be able to race at whatever place it's going to be, and that's more of a national thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's what hurts me the most. And this whole thing that happened in Page on Saturday night, to me, was just, it was a terrible situation. I knew about. I mean, I got the text. I got the text at that point as to what had happened. You know, there with Marianne and guys. Again, Marianne. Whatever. I'm going to take that part out of it, and a lot of good friends of mine involved in this, but this has hurt.
I think that's the problem, is that it's a fine line for a delicate situation, but we know, at least everyone that we've heard, and they've contacted you directly, not necessarily me, we know all the parties.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We know all the parties.
And Steve Sims just posted something right there to me that and it goes back to the whole thing where I talk about the whole Sunday morning thing when I wake up, Bobby. It to me, there are so many times to where I want to walk away from this shit. I mean, to me, it we are going in the wrong direction. I mean, this sport should not be about a promoter, you know, all that happening and drivers getting so incensed that they go to those extremes. I mean, I've been doing this for so long that, you know, I go back to when I got twisted up with somebody. You know, we go have a discussion and do whatever, and maybe it was that we never got anything figured out. Maybe we never we agreed to disagree, and we agreed to not like each other. And there's been a lot of guys that whether I did something with them, Jim Teague, Brandon, I'm talking to you guys, it was a situation to where we did not fucking like each other at all. And then once I got away from the driver's seat, you know, we figured out a way to like each other. Now we're friends, and I just it breaks my heart that our sport has gotten to this point to where this is for fun. This is for fun. And back to the whole thing, you know, with it happening in the sport complex, I just to me it's disappointing in the sense as to what happened there. And again, we don't know the circumstances. We just know the end result. But there are a lot of people that are not going to be racing at places because of this situation. Some of that's going to be IMCA national points that are going to be lost. And the whole thing is the call for unity right here. I think the racetracks are clamoring on here because they really seem, I think it sucks that this seems to be what's going to make these tracks work together.
Well, they're working together now to a certain extent, but this is going to pull the track closer together, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's no doubt about it. The track's unifying because nobody wants to see what happened at Cotton Bowl happen at their racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the same people involved or new people involved, nobody wants to see that thing happen at any racetrack.
Well, and that goes back to what we're talking about. I mean, this is not why we do this. We get out there to have a good time, and you know, we're going to get pissed at each other. I mean, we're always going to get mad at each other. And the simple fact that it comes down to something like this. I mean, I know there's a lot of details, and you know, I thought about reaching out to all the different parties and be like, hey, come on, you know, let's discuss this. It's not for you and I to work this out.
No,
it's not for you and I to work this out. The racetracks are going to work this out. IMCA is going to work this out, and all the different variables that are going to be in place right there, because it. Again, it's a travesty that we have to wake up to a Sunday yet again to this again. And you know, the bad thing is, you know, we're sitting here talking about this, everything that happened in this compact race, and our man, I mean, we got a good buddy that was hurt at Cotton Bowl, that it just makes it worse. I mean, that compounds everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was shocked. I texted the driver that got hurt and said, "Hey,
I didn't say his name. I mean,
I messaged him.
I know
Said, hey,
Charles is checking in.
yeah, I messaged him there, the other night. I guess it was yesterday, and said, "Hey, man, how you feeling?" Checking him, and he's like, "Yeah, I've got a fractured vertebrae, L1 and L2, and he'll be in a back brace for about 6 weeks." So, I mean, that's that's not good. I mean, there's a difference between shit happen and shit happening.
Yeah,
not the same thing.
Yeah, and I'll give you my thought with the whole thing because with track saying so and so can't come here or whatever. What I don't want to see happen out of a bad situation, and I'm impressed to this point. I don't care what the racetracks do. I don't care how they handle this, but I don't want this to be a situation to where it's like, okay, whatever happened here, open arms, come on. And talking to the folks involved, with this. If you want to go race at one of those places that have not said that that you can't go there, I mean, call them, have a conversation, and don't do it on Facebook. Don't do it on this Facebook thing, because that's the one place to where all of this just gets worse, and we're not
a problem between two people becomes a problem with 100 people on Facebook.
Right, that's exactly right. And it's going to be 99 people that had nothing to do with it. And that's always the problem that we have with the racetracks. When there's a problem, boom, here comes everybody that hadn't been there in 5 years. They don't own a race car. It's all of that. That is what we get into this point or these situations, and that's what I'm hoping. I mean, I want these guys. I want these folks to go have a place to race, but it's not up to us to lobby for that. They need to advocate themselves.
Every promoter, we say it all the time. Every promoter will pick up their phone.
Absolutely.
Every single promoter will pick up their phone.
Yeah.
And they will have most of the time, will have a civil conversation with that person that calls, unless the person that calls decides they don't want to be civil.
Yeah, no doubt. And
at least every promoter that we know.
Yeah. And Marianne, thank you for checking in. I mean, I know that I've talked to you and the other parties involved today. You guys, I have gotten no work done today breaking all of this down, but it really is. I mean, it's not. I do take this a little personal because, when with Marianne right there, and then Jake Jr. and Frankie. I mean, it's my people. I'm telling you, when I got the call, when I got the text on Sunday morning, it broke my heart. And then when I heard the folks involved, it broke my heart too, because that's my friends too, and that's where I just wish that we could figure out a better way to know what's going to happen. And I see CJ checking in there, the whole story and all of that's not what we're here to do. Let them handle that. They're going to be the racetracks, the sanctioning bodies. They're going to be the one to figure that shit out. I mean, this is a unsanctioned show. We're not IMCA or USRA or SRL.
We're not sanctioned by any track.
We ain't sanctioned by nobody. We would be sanctioned by somebody if they wanted to sponsor us, but that's a whole nother story. It's just I like I said, it's just it sucks that we all get excited about race weekends, and it's always that Sunday morning, man. That there's always something there that, come on, man. There's always something, right?
It's always something.
Always something, and it's straight to the Facebook. And that's why we go back to,
And sometimes it's not even Sunday morning. Sometimes it's late Saturday night.
I know.
Or very early Sunday morning. I saw a lot of them hurt feelings over there from Texana.
Well, and I can guarantee you, all of these promoters that we talk to that do a tireless job, that give us a place to race.
That's true. That's the main thing.
That give us a place to race, that let us go out there. Officials, like we said, they're doing what they do, and again, I've been behind the wheel there. I've been turning wrenches for people. Well, I didn't turn wrenches. I stood there, but I get the passion. But it as much as we despise NASCAR and all these different things right there, we're not quite at that level. And I think that's where we need to get in there and to turn that wick down just a little bit. Ain't no need to get too carried away.
And just remember, there is always somebody watching, and a lot of times it's the younger kids that are watching and see that kind of stuff in the pits. We definitely don't want to see that happen.
Well,
because they look up to everybody. You know, you could have one fan. The fan could be 5 years old. They may like you because they like the font on your car, the color, the number of your car, but you don't want to disappoint that one fan because there's always somebody watching.
And I think that's a great point right there, because you got those little bitty eyes that are bearing down on you. You are the ones that you are the heroes to those kids and to the. I mean, even a lot of folks. I mean, not kids. I mean, the other night at Texana, I mean, I had grown adults that were coming up. Hey, man, I remember you racing at wherever, and that's great. I mean, that's flattering, and that's a whole thing to get out there and present yourself in a professional manner, even though we are not professionals.
It's a hobby, but you still got to be professional about the hobby.
It really is. And I get the passion. I do. I mean, my goodness. I mean, I felt passion on Saturday night that I hadn't felt in a long time. It's really good to do this, but it is, we have got to be better. We've got to be better. And again, it's not a matter of calling anybody out. I am not here, and I know Bobby's not either. We're not here to say this side was right, this side was wrong at any track, because we're kind of honing in to Cotton Bowl. But it seemed like the theme that I saw on Sunday was everybody was pissed. Every track. I mean, every damn one. Every damn one. I'm like, okay. It seems like there was a controversy at every racetrack, and that seems to be the weekend pattern time after time. And if we're doing this for fun, and here's the whole thing where I go back to with Marianne and H. When I saw the whole thing with Marianne, and again, not choosing sides, but you and I know H well, really well.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was waiting for H to say, "We're done."
Yeah.
And again, it's not H's money, it's not Marianne's money, it's not all of this. It's a matter of these people are doing this for us. They are giving us this place. But when we have these things happening, that's the bad part. And I think that's where you guys all need to kind of take a step back every now and then. Is it really worth what, $200 to win?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody, you're not going to make a large amount of money on it. That's for sure.
Yeah. We have to be better. We have to be better. And folks checking in there asking what happened. We're not going to sit here and recite this because, like we said, neither one of us was there. We know both sides of everything happening. I see something happening. It's on the CBS page. That's there. But again, there's another side to it. And I think the thing is, this is where, racetracks need to work together to figure out how you want to do business with this. And this is where I go back to again. On the other side are my friends. I just don't think that racetracks need to be, well, screw them. Come on up here. Come on and race here. It's okay to do that here.
I don't think any racetrack.
Because that ain't okay anywhere.
Yeah, that ain't okay anywhere.
No, it's not okay anywhere.
Don't let your passion write a check that your ass can't cash.
Yeah, and it's not about who's right or who's wrong, because that's one thing that I got a lot about today. I don't give a damn who's right. I don't give a shit who's wrong. We need to be better. We need to be better because this is our sport. This is you see people that are infatuated with football and with soccer and with all these different things and kids sports and all of this. I mean, we have a lot of folks that have been doing this for a long time. And what we need to do at this point is we need to cap this thing towards not getting out of control to where this is the normal. We can blame this on a lot of things. Social media, we can blame this on, as much as, we want to not be fans of NASCAR and all this. We see this happening in the upper echelons of racing, and I think that reciprocates down as much as folks don't give a damn about NASCAR, but they see somebody out there throwing helmets and throwing Hans devices and all this shit that that has an effect.
Mm-hmm.
That has an effect.
They think if it's okay for the pros to do it, it's okay for them to do it.
That's right. The pros, they don't give a damn about. They see that happening, and and it's something that carries over, unfortunately. And I just don't think that that's the right way that we need to be doing things right about now.
Yeah. No.
Yep. All right. Going to the hotline. We're going to cool off here a little bit.
Change of pace, right here.
Yeah. Let's talk some racing with one of the cool dudes that, this guy drives everything, and he drives the wheels off of them. First time on the Revved Up Sports Show on a busy Monday. It is our man, Dylan Alasko. Dylan, I saw you checking in right there. How you doing, friend?
Oh, doing pretty good. How are y'all doing this evening?
Man, doing well. Thanks for jumping in, man. So let's talk about the weekend for you, my brother. It looked like you were all set to go. Wrap us up on everything that you may have been a part of this weekend.
Man, this weekend we just we had a big weekend actually 2 weeks ago at Arklatex that got rained out. So I decided to go out to 105 this past weekend and give it a whirl, and can't complain. We loaded up and came home when nothing broke, so can't really complain there.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, my friend.
Isn't it kind of sad sometimes though that a good weekend is just meaning to roll it on the trailer? I mean, it's like when you see wrecks happening all over social media and all of that, you're kind of like, well, hell, I may not have won the race, but at least the 4 tires were on it that I had when I unloaded the damn thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's no lie there.
So Dylan, talk about, man. Yeah, I've seen you in the factory. I've called some of your races and so forth. But you kind of got your foot in everything right there. That right foot, that heavy foot. Talk about everything that you're a part of, dude. You drive the shit out of everything.
Yes, sir. Man, I have I got my factory stock. That's pretty much what I'm focusing on right now. I got a street stock and a Mod Light that I'm driving too for my buddy Donnie Schubert. And
Yes,
beginning of the year, I broke 2 motors in the street stock back to back, so I kind of just had to push that thing to the back of the shop because that kind of hurt the back pocket a little bit.
That's
So
right.
I pushed it to the back, and I got back in the factory stock and just trying to focus on it. And it's been coming together for me, focusing on it, because the past few weeks I've been out, been really fast everywhere I've gone.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, Dylan, as a factory stock driver, has the factory stocks kind of leveled out in your opinion? When I say leveled out, it seemed like everybody, regardless of whether you're racing a big mod, a sport mod, a hobby stock, a stock car, everybody was just flocking over to the factory stocks because they had the big money purses and the big races. You had everybody racing from a home-built car to a $40,000 car. Has it leveled out a little bit? Do we still see the $40,000 cars? Are these home-built cars competitive anymore? Where's that division at in your mind?
Man, so I got a really good race car, and so this year everywhere and that I've been racing, we've gone to the KK 704s in the factory stock class. And in my opinion, that has leveled the field out a whole lot. You don't need a big badass race car now, because you got a race car tire under it, and everything's hooked. We're not on slicks, on dirt. And in my opinion, I like it a whole lot better. I haven't raced on slicks since we've changed, but I do plan to come back, go to a couple different tracks and go back to the slicks. But with the factory stocks there for a while on the slicks, man, it was whoever had the best car, best equipment is probably going to dominate, just because you're going to have money to get the tires to hook up. There's no tread on them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now with the racing tires, we can race a whole lot harder now.
Yep.
It's more forgiving, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And isn't that something that I think needed to happen? I mean, because this thing, it was going out of control, and we talk about it on the show all the time. To where this is me saying, I think the factory stocks have kind of hurt the limited modifieds, the sport mods, and all that with guys that are moving over in modifieds. But I think that tire change right there is something that's kind of bringing that back all together to where it's kind of leveling things out a lot better than it was before.
Oh yes, I agree on that 100%. Just because if you look at these big races now, you're not seeing dominant guys anymore. You're starting to see people come out and they're fast, and you ain't really heard of them before. And I think that's really what it needed, because it was steering people away. I mean, you show up and do good to make a feature every week
right,
at these big factory stock races, and it's supposed to be a beginner class, but I'll tell you now, it's far from a beginner class.
Oh yeah, that's always.
I mean, I go out of Louisiana and shoot, we're racing people. They got big names in late models. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's not a beginner class at all anymore.
No
Yeah.
doubt, no
not,
doubt
not
about
price
that.
wise, not
No.
not introductory wise either.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it was intended
exactly.
that way, years ago, but it kind of fell off the window. So you talked about racing in Louisiana. Now my question is the different tracks that you race, do you find yourself having to change your driving style by region? Like, do the guys up in Arkansas race different than the guys in Louisiana versus the guys down south? They're in Houston and even South Texas. I mean, is there really a difference between the regions? We've heard some guys complain that sometimes when they go to a certain region, it's a little rougher than others. A little extracurricular bumping and banging there for a little bit. What's your mindset on that and opinion on that?
Man, my opinion on it is we're all out there to win a race.
Yep.
Yes, we're gonna bump and grind, but I mean, you can't expect to not get bumped at all. I mean, we're all out there driving our cars to the max, and I mess up every once in a while, and usually I'll go tell a person I messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see any region any more rougher than the next, because shoot, I've tore up race cars everywhere I've been. So I don't see one region any different than the other. I think some regions might have people that complain a little bit more, but not difference in driving.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dylan, isn't that the thing? I mean, the one thing we were just talking about, I mean, obviously when you get a big money show and all this with the factories and everything, there's a lot of money involved right there, and it takes a lot of money to do it. But it just seems like to me that we get to some of these shows and people forget that we're doing this for fun and fun. I know that is hard to, it's hard to embrace that we're doing it for fun because we're all competitive. But I think that's the one thing that folks need to realize is this is for fun. We're not going to retire doing this shit. It's just something that we love.
That's right. And I agree with that 100%.
So Dylan, I want to go back and touch on the tires again. Back when everybody started going to the slicks on the factory stocks, we were, Rodney and I come from kind of a pavement background, if you will, and seeing the old asphalt pull-offs as tires for dirt cars when it first started happening, we were just like, how the hell does that work? And then it got real big and got real popular. Does the new tire, we got your opinion on the new tires, making it a little racier class and stuff like that. But is the fact that are the tire costs the same, or was it a lot cheaper buying them pull-offs? And that's what made that's what made it popular to begin with.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love the price of the pull-off. It's only $35 as to the $160, $170 for the new KK704s.
Yep.
But I will also say I've been disqualified for a set of tires from asphalt that they said I had tire dope on them, and I know I didn't do it, and I got DQ'd for it and finished second at a big race. And they sent a tire sample off, and there's no policing that, because who knows where a tire come from. That's
true.
I can go to the store and buy a brand new American Racer. I can't go to the store and buy a brand new F45. It's illegal. So
yeah, no doubt.
That's my only gripe about them, other than it's not as racy as a racing tire.
Yeah, no doubt. So your thoughts as we've made this change and we still continue to see. I think one of the coolest things to me about the factory stocks, you can have races up north, central, down south, all the different racetracks. With the factory stocks, talking about you and the factory stocks, there is never a shortage of factory stocks at a given racetrack, man. You go to racetracks and you got 24 plus. That's pretty cool of the whole condition of the class right now.
Oh yeah, because I've raced a lot this year in Louisiana, and I've been there on normal nights and the big nights. And honestly, in Louisiana, I don't think there's a car count difference. on the show. It could be a weekly show. There's 70 cars. It could be a big show, and there'll be 100 cars just because there'll be 20 cars come from out of town.
Yeah.
If you go up there, I mean, it's factory stocks it's a big class everywhere.
Yeah.
So how's that going to compare to like an IMCA stock car now, with the tires being somewhat the same price? Do you think you see a lot of guys going back to the IMCA stuff versus kind of running an open set of rules, if you will, with the factory stocks kind of unsanctioned a little bit?
Man, I don't see the change a whole lot, just because there are still so many big money races in factory stocks. And honestly, that's probably the problem with the factory stock deal, is that, I mean, almost any given week we could go race anywhere from Corpus Christi to Arkansas for $1,000.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, any given week there's a big money race. As long as you're willing to travel a few hours, you could go race for $1,000 almost every week.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Dylan, do you think, I mean, in your opinion, having done this at some point, do you think that IMCA or USRA, one of the two, do you think that they might try to sanction this class? I mean, I hope they don't. I hope they don't. Just kind of leave it be and let it be kind of the outlaw class, if you want to call it that. What are your thoughts on that?
So the USRA, actually, they have sanctioned the factory stock.
They have, okay.
And yes, that's what has gone to the KK 704.
Oh, okay.
Is the USRA sanction.
Perfect.
And that's a lot of the tracks in Texas are pretty much USRA rules, other than tires. There's a few other rules in there, but it's not really going to change too much. The biggest rule change is the tires, and that's it.
Yeah.
Interesting point there.
That makes sense.
Let's talk about your street stock for a minute. I think that's the one that's the topless one you got, right? That's the street stock.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So other than the blown motors, talk about that. Is it a completely different beast compared to your factory stock? I mean, it seems like you got better components and everything else. Talk about racing a street stock now.
Wide open.
Yeah, wide, and that's exactly it. It's wide open. It's an outlaw street stock class we have down here at 105. That's what I got the car for, just so I didn't have to race the factory stock every week. I was trying to just save it for big money shows. And then, so I have a 604 crate motor in it, and a bunch of people, I don't know, I guess they don't think a crate motor will do the job, but I've had very good success with it. And that's, compared to my factory stock, it's an animal because of all the movement in the car.
Yeah.
And you just pretty much hold the gas pedal wide open and hold on.
Dude.
Yeah. If you ever have any issues with your 602 or 604, let us know. We got a hookup for you.
Yeah. Hook you up.
Okay. Yeah. I locked up 2 604s in 2 weeks.
Ooh, man, I can ship them right to your doorstep. But so rest of the year for you. I mean, obviously factory stock, you know, we're getting into the heat of summer and big shows are coming up. What all are you going to be doing? I mean, the big ones that you have circled on the calendar that you plan to be a part of, Dylan.
Hold on one second, I'll pull up my schedule.
His schedule. Oh my goodness.
Mr. Professional got it down already digitally. Look at that.
I didn't know we had Kyle Larson on the line right here.
No. That's we're lucky to be very busy at work, so I had to sit down and put me a schedule together. But so we have in July we have the 10,000 to win at Boot Hill for the factory stock.
Ooh, that's a lot of coin.
Damn.
And then September we have the rest of the Mike Parker Memorial, which was 2 weeks ago at Arklatex. It rained out Saturday night.
Yeah.
So we're going to finish that in September, and then we have the Louisiana State Championship in September at Boot Hill. The Kennedale Summit Nationals, I guess, in September. And then we'll be at Sabine for that. I think that's going to be their 7,500 to win factory stock show. And then to close it off, it'll probably be at Arklatex for the Cajun Classic. And I think this is like year 21 for that. So they've been going strong.
I forgot about the Cajun Classic, yeah.
That's right. That's right. That is a full schedule, my man. That's how you do it right there. That's really good stuff. Man, always a joy to see you on that racetrack. When I reached out, I'm like, dude, please join us. I mean, I thought it was going to
Oh
be
yeah.
a great conversation there with you. Fun to call your races and fun to watch you win. And look forward to go win them big ones. And we'll do this again real soon, my man.
Yes, sir. Sounds great.
All right, thanks, buddy. Take care.
All right. Yes, sir. Y'all have a great night.
You bet. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
You bet. There he goes. Dylan Nolasco, and that's a guy we have needed to have him on here for a long time.
For a while, yeah.
A long time.
He's been one of those guests that's been circled that it finally worked out schedule-wise to get him on.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing right there. You know what he's talking about right there. Yeah, you know, with the changes with the factory stock, and I did know that about with the KK 704s and all of that that was going to be the change.
It seems that expensive-ass tire takes out that, I mean... I get it, right? I mean, I understand that somebody need to kind of rein it in a little bit, but damn, it's $160 a tire versus a $35 pull off.
And that's the whole thing, you know.
Might as well run a stock car.
Well, and to me, the whole thing is, you know, where you get to the situation with the factory stock is, and this is going to be something. I know that I've talked to my man Owen there with something that we're kind of thinking about later in the year in Houston is to where you get to the purpose-built race car has kind of changed all of this. I mean, think back to the times when you first had the factory stock back at the years of Cotton Bowl. The first years of Cotton Bowl, when you had a factory stock versus a factory stock now.
Oh, yeah.
That's
or
a difference.
Factory stock versus a stock car. That was back when the Novas were trying to be competitive, and then lo and behold, next thing you know, a season and a half later, the Novas can't even sniff the back end of the field.
And that's where I go back to, you know, this past weekend with Tony Blankenship, you know, a great friend of mine. I mean, talking about back in the days, I remember him with that 32 car, that 32 Nova, that car would win. I think that car won feature races at the race ranch and at Cotton Bowl in the factory stocks, you know, as a factory stock. And that's where that class has changed up a little bit. And to see these factory stocks nowadays, I mean, they are very, very purpose built and the purpose of going very fast. And that's the tire thing. I mean, I like that big old fat tire. To me, that was always the coolest part for me. And you know, with some of the things that we're thinking about, not to put the cart before the horse, but when we start talking about maybe putting factory stocks on asphalt, you know, asphalt pull off. Imagine those factory stocks on that big old fat 10-inch tire on asphalt. Pump the air up in that sumbitch a little bit.
Yeah,
Ooh,
be a little
man.
If anybody can make that experiment work, it's our buddy Owen Pittman.
Well, and the thing is, you know, I was talking to Tony this weekend, you know, driving the hobby stock. He's like, these are just as fast as the factory stocks, but you know, we don't have that tire. We don't have a couple of different things, you know, heads and whatever. But man, hobby stocks are fast. Those are a lot faster than I thought they'd be.
Yeah, well, they changed the rules a little bit from the pure stocks into the hobby stocks, so they gained a few miles per hour. So that made it a little bit more entertaining for both, a little bit more entertaining for the fans, a little bit more enjoyable for the drivers.
Yeah,
drivers always want to go faster, so that you know.
And I do want to touch on that before we kind of step away here just for a second, because Marcus Harcrow coming up, he'll talk about the Baby Blue Harcrow Memorial coming up, the 4th annual at Heart of Texas Speedway. I do want to touch on the weekend there at Texana. Really good time out there. Again, thanks to Tony and Cord and Owen and Monty that set all of that up, that let me go out there and race. And you know, with Dwayne Groff, just kind of recapping, you know, what I was doing over the weekend. I wish the races would have been reversed. I wish I would have gotten to drive the hobby stock first, because I went out and had to drive the dwarf a certain way to get around the racetrack. But it was just kind of bass backwards for me. But just a good time to get out on the racetrack and have fun with that. I mean, I wish that I'd have done better for Tony, but to watch that battle right there, I think everything kind of sized up the way that it was supposed to be, Bobby. You had the two guys up at the front, and then you had my ass shagging ass in the back, managing to stay on the lead lap, supposedly. But anyway, I just think that was a great to see those guys, to see Howard Willis and Lawrence behind the wheel of those cars. That took me back. I had them in my vision. I could see what they were doing. That had to have been so cool for you to
They were
watch
wheeling.
them up
They were wheeling the hell out of them things and
Oh, my
actually doing a
God.
really good race.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun because I had an opportunity to talk about, those guys that we know you can listen to the replay at all your favorite podcast providers and even here on Facebook. We had both of them on last week. Both those guys have been kicking ass for years.
Oh, yeah.
Lawrence has been racing for 45 years, and Howard's coming up on 50 on Labor Day. Both of them stopped counting wins years ago because they won so damn much. But both those guys are still really humble. Great behind the wheel, great ambassadors to the sport. So it was a lot of fun. And then you throw somebody in there like Stephen Whitaker III.
Oh, man.
The next generation, he was hanging right there with him, the top
Yeah, he
three
was.
all night long. So it was so cool. I don't want to say passing the torch is not the right word or the phrase for that, but it was nice to see the next generation following in the tire tracks of the veterans, of the really good guys.
Yeah, I really think that was a part of the deal. I mean, because if you go back and you look at the top 10 right there, it was, I mean, obviously those guys up at the front, but you had a lot of young guys in there. I mean, even like John Drexler, I mean, that's a younger dude right there to where these guys are getting out there and doing really cool things. And you talk about Whitaker the third, and even you had the other Whitaker. I mean, you had them all out there. It was a good balanced field. It was a good race. I mean, I think that to me the coolest part of that was I wish that I would have been better. And here's where I messed up. I mean, I know last year when I got out there, I was I started 20th or whatever it was. I started 9th, I think it was, and I'm sitting here, okay, I'm going to pass this, and I screwed up. I mean, I made mistakes that I'm not used to making, back when I raced all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a good time. It was just a good time, and I think that show was so rock solid. And to have those guys put on that show, and the coolest part of that for me was to be around. Both of us, living legend. Those guys are living legends, and those guys, what they did, it really was fantastic, and that for Texas, and the place was jammed. I mean, the place was jammed. I mean, there were so many people there that were a part of that, and just being a part of a great night. And then you were talking to all the guys that had been champions over there, and that was something that I had reached out to Monty, and I'm like, let's bring in all the guys that may have won championships. Let's let them talk about themselves, because it's like this show, just let them be recognized. That is so important, and I think that's something that goes forgotten from time to time.
Yeah, I think you have to recognize, because you always have to know where you've been to know where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
You got to recognize the past, embrace the present, and enjoy the future. We've talked about that. That's been the theme of the show all night long.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was a lot of extra work compared to normal, but it was all worth it. Being down there, I had a really good talk with Lawrence, because the whole way the schedule worked out, he wanted to hot lap his car, but we told him to be up at the press box at 6:45.
Yeah.
So he was up there talking
Yeah,
to
he
me.
was up there waiting.
Yeah, up there with me, and then Howard was hot lapping his cars, and then you were hot lapping your cars.
Yeah. Lawrence came down and he said, "Hey, you won hot laps. Nobody passed you." I'm like, "Where were you?" He's like, "I was up there waiting for y'all."
Yeah.
So,
but at least I had a really good. Lawrence is such a cool dude.
I tell
He knows he's forgotten more about racing than I'll ever learn.
that dude, that really is the best part, to just get to hang out with those guys, and Howard. Each and every time that we'd get, our cars are sitting there all together. I mean, we're all parked there together, and I'm sitting there trying to get in this car, and here comes Lawrence and Howard, and Howard was the one that would always walk up, and he's like, "You look nervous." I'm like, "Wouldn't you be?"
Yeah, racing them too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "I wouldn't be nervous." I'm like, "Well, I don't have 1,001 wins."
Yeah. It may be 1,002 now, I think, is what we had the discussion. I don't remember. I put on the Facebook post 1,001 just because that's what he was jokingly talking about there in Victory Lane.
Yeah,
So
I can tell you one thing: they did a hell of a job. The crowd showed up. You did a great job, and our friend Paige, $100.
That's right.
Right there, walking away from that.
And don't forget, I picked that winning ticket for her. Just random,
there.
hell of a random pick right
There
there.
you go, Paige. You owe him $25. you owe him $25 here at the next race. Just buy him some Coors Light. He'll be good with that.
Yeah, I'll be all right with that.
Yeah, he'll be good with that. All right, you guys stick around. Coming up, we're talking the Baby Blue Harcrow Memorial, the 4th annual, coming up at Waco. That is Friday and Saturday. You guys stick around. Marcus Harcrow will join us. Hashtag Real Race Talk. This is what we do, and we will touch in again on some of the other discussion at the end of that. So just hang out. It is the Revved Up Sports Show.
Hey racers, Phil Whipple here again with the Revved Up Sports Show. For over a year now, you've heard me talking about our valued partners over at Generation Race Cars. During the first half of this season, GRC built cars have visited Victory Lane on 20 occasions, driven by 6 different drivers. We're proud of their success and know more wins are ahead for them in the coming months. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built just like the ones driven by recent winners Alex Hickam, Jeff Shepard, Dean Abbey, and Kyle Wilkins. Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. When you're ready to join the winning team, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call at 817-528-2947. Take your racing program to victory lane with Team GRC.
You guys, Rodney Rodriguez from my friends at Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet in Brandon, Mississippi. A lot of folks looking for those GM crate engines, whether it be the 602, the 604, much sought after, whether it be on dirt or pavement, lots of different places that you can run those crate motors. My friends here at Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet GM Performance Parts are going to give you the best part, or the best price that you're going to find in the country. Check out my man Ryan Polk, 601-824-5457, or hit up rpolk at rogersdabbs.com. Get in touch with him. Let him tell you how he's going to get those engines to you. I mean, take a look right there. I mean, they're in stock. They are on the shelf and ready to get to you. Sealed crate GM engines. You can scan that QR code, and I promise you, you are not going to beat that price. Best price in the country. Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet GM Performance Parts in Brandon, Mississippi. Check them out and tell me you heard about them right here on the Revved Up Sports Show.
All right, back here live on a lively discussion Monday evening here on the Revved Up Sports Show. Once again, Showtime Bobby Chappie right here. The Iceman Rodney Rodriguez right over there. Thanks, everybody, for checking in. Dylan Alaska with a good conversation with him. And then thanks for everybody with the interactive comments there on both the Facebook pages that we happen to be live on, both the Russ page and our buddies at Race on Texas. Speaking of Race on Texas, I want to give a big shout-out to our buddy Marcus.
Oh, yeah, man.
Bad shape. Had a stroke there in California, so we wish him all the best. Hopefully he'll be back to the racetrack soon. But good job filling in with Tony there at the Speedway there on Saturday night down in Edna. So best of luck to Marcus. We want to see him get back to the track real soon.
I'll tell you, Marcus, one of those good dudes right there, and he's. I always like about Marcus. He's one of those guys where he's not a racing guy, but he's kind of jumped in here and trying to learn different things. You know, he'll always be like, I know when I'm doing shows with him, he's like, okay, so which ones are the sport mods?
Yeah.
You know, kind of one of those things. And I mean, that's the people that we need in the sport. I mean, guys like that that do a really good job. And again, I do want to go back to I do want to talk about back to Texana. I do want to thank a lot of people, Bobby, if you give me a chance. Again, Tony, Cord, Owen, Dwayne Groff, that let me dive into that car. Howard, Lawrence. I mean, you guys, you you guys are so cordial to me and just embrace me as one of you. And that's, when I was standing down there, our friend Christine Molise, that was there, and good to see John. Good to see him, back out at the racetrack. She sent me a picture it's a picture of Lawrence and Howard and I, and it's like, that's like, I would have never thought that I would be a part of any of that. And just really cool stuff. I mean, thanks to those legends for coming out, and thanks for all the great race fans. And I think that the main thing I do want to talk about, Bobby, is folks need to. Texana's got a lot of races left. I mean, you guys have plenty of races left, and people need to go out there because, yes, this show was bigger. I mean, with some of the promotion and everything going on right there, but go out there because that place is top notch. Top notch.
I love my little racetrack down there.
You should.
He's done an excellent job updating that facility, and it's got some good stuff. There's lots of great racetracks out there. Everybody's got their favorite, but lots of good racing action all over the great state, including upcoming this weekend there at Heart of Texas.
Oh, man, one of the biggest shows of them all. You're going to have some of the biggest stock cars, Joe Spillman's favorite class. Take a shot right there if you are drinking with us as you start doing it. Thank you. On the hotline right here, we're about to talk to one of the guys that puts all this together, Marcus Harcrow. It is the Baby Blue Memorial there at Heart of Texas Speedway, the 4th annual, named after his lovely mom. Marcus, how we doing, sir?
We're doing good, Rodney.
So, Marcus, I would assume that this time of year for you got to be super emotional. With the race that's named after that special individual for you. But at the same time, man, this is a huge one. So many big things happening this weekend.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's you have everyday life, and then you put this on top, and it magnifies everything. Running a race program in itself is tough. I mean, most of you guys see it in the backside, from an announcer's booth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've seen it from the announcers, from the flag stand, from tech, but this is just magnified. There's so many moving pieces, so many things that have to be worked out. You're making phone calls, conference calls, text messages, group chats. You got artwork. You got to send information over to that department. Just so many different things, and it does. It at times is a little overwhelming, but this obviously being the 4th year, I can tell you every year that we've done it, at the end of it, the gratification you get from it just makes it worth it.
I bet.
So, Marcus, the gratification is one part of it, right? Because we've talked to you multiple times about this awesome race that you put together. Has it, when you put the promoter hat on and you got to get the sponsors and everything else over the course of the last couple of years, has it gotten any easier, or is it even more complicated now than ever?
Well, I'd say a little bit of both. Obviously it's 4th year, so it's a little easier to go to the ones that you've had, and then ask them to continue. But it is hard to get more. To bring on new partners. And that's challenging. Obviously, this isn't something I do on a weekly basis. I don't work for the track. I don't. Marketing is not necessarily a forte of mine. I have the gift of gab, so it makes it a little easier when I call and talk to people. But it has its moments of challenging. I can't thank enough for, you got the flyer posted. Every single one of those sponsors, 99% of them have been with us since year one. Yeah. They look forward to being a part of it, whether they do small or large contributions, and I can't thank them enough. And I can't thank the ones that we picked up this year, some that have come back, that took it, weren't able last year, they came back this year. Kind of some situations again this year, I've had some that say, man, we can't do it this year, but hit us up again next year. We love this event. We want to be a part of it, and so that's obviously encouraging. But yes, that part of the promoting side is, I'd say it's the most stressful.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And Marcus, I mean, talk about, I know you've done it here on the show before, but I know we got new folks that are checking in right now. Talk about what this race is all about. I mean, your mom right there, I know that each and every time you are all about when this race happens, when you got $5,000 to win with these stock cars that are going to be out here for the Baby Blue. I mean, this is all about you making your mom proud, and I know that she is each and every time. But here for the fourth annual, just talk about how this all came together.
Well, so my mom, she was a racer.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of the first few women to compete against the guys. Back when I was a kid, powder puff races, that was at least once or twice a month.
That's right.
Strictly for the women.
Yep.
Well, my mom was never one to want to compete in the powder puff. She's like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to race with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only think of a handful or less of women that's what they did. They were willing to get out there and knock fenders with the boys, instead of, racing once or twice a month with the girls. So,
yeah.
She was, she was tough. She, she gave it everything she had on the racetrack. And then when she gave up racing, my mom's always been a singer. I mean, she'd sing at churches, sing at, different things. She had a great, obviously had a great voice.
Right.
And so she would sing the national anthem at Hot. I mean, really just about any track that she'd go to. She wasn't shy about showing up to the track for the first time, finding whoever ran the place and being like, hey, I'd like to sing the national anthem for you.
I love that.
She did that to me at Cotton Bowl one night, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and she did a great job doing it. And that's where, some of the people that are in the racing circle now know her from, is from her singing the national anthem. They weren't around for her driving.
Right.
But unfortunately she's taken from us a little early, and passed away due to some injuries from a car wreck in 2020. And I had some friends, emotionally, I don't know that it ever crossed my mind. 2020 was it was tough.
It was messed up. It was just messed up all the way around. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, a year and 10 days before that, I had a severe vehicle accident myself. And then a year and 10 days later, my mom's in a car wreck and passes away. And, just the emotional toll, everything's weighing on you. So this kind of event truly never crossed my mind.
Right.
And I had some friends come up to me and like, hey, we need to try to do something, memorial for your mom. And that's just kind of where it started, and, we shot for, a decent, $1,000 to win. And before I know it, I mean, we did this, the accident was in April. I think sometime in May is when they came to me and, pitched the idea, so come the end of June, we were at $1,500 to win and $115 to start. That's how much money we had raised. And,
damn.
We had tons of contingencies and stuff like that, just like we do this year,
Yeah.
And it's just grown to be bigger and bigger. It's grown bigger because I have more help. Heart of Texas Speedway, their staff, they help raise some of the money. I'm still out there, quote unquote, knocking on doors, but
That's right.
In Texas, at least for a stock car show, there's not one that's any better, not in my opinion, even despite the pay. You just don't get all these guys, these caliber guys. Texas has some of the best stock car drivers in the country.
Yep. Yep.
And to get just about every single one of them at one track for one show just doesn't happen a lot. And, we've been, grateful enough to be able to do that. And we got a big payout to boot.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
It doesn't cost the drivers a whole lot. That's been a goal. My mom was what's the word? She's a racer's racer.
That's right.
That's the best way to put it.
Down home. Just homegrown. Yep.
Yeah. So if I was going to put on a show, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't the racers having to put the show on.
For sure.
We got a $50 registration fee. I mean,
it's crazy.
With a, you're
$5K to
you
win.
make the show. Yeah. I mean, it pays $300 to start. That's a $250. Advancement just over your entry fee.
A little bit of a bonus right there. No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, even if you add your pit passes, for the driver himself, I mean, you're still, over $150 a head to make the show. So, and that's like third or fourth place on a regular Friday or Saturday night. But yes, sorry, I'm getting choked up.
That's all right, man. That's okay.
This race is meant to be for the racers. We went first year, we were a 1-day show. We've been 2-day ever since. Strictly for the reason that you spread out the opportunities for you to race your way into the main.
That's right.
You reduce the amount of carnage.
That's right. That's right.
I don't want drivers to think, oh, well, I go to Waco for that baby blue race and I get my car torn up because I only got 1 or 2 shots to try to get in.
Yeah.
I try to think of it, like I said, from a racer standpoint. I want to give the racer every opportunity and his best opportunity to race hard, race clean, and race their way in. And we've worked on the format every year to adjust it to try to achieve just that, and we hope this year's format is just more improvement on that.
That's right. So, that's right.
At the end of the day, like I said, this is for the racers. This is for my mom, who was just a racer.
That's it.
And we hope that at the end of Saturday night, the fans stand up and holler and just thank us for putting it on. Because it's for them. This is
what it's all about.
For the racers.
Yeah, it's what it's all about.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So, Marcus, let's talk about the stock cars as a whole, right? We've always had that discussion about factory stocks, having the big money shows, and the stock cars kind of were in the shadows for a few years. Now it seems like some of the best racing you see at any IMCA sanctioned track you go to is the stock cars. To me, it seems like they're in the best spot they've been in a long time. You got that sniper tour that comes in, the winter series that comes in with the stock cars with the guys up north and a lot of the guys in Texas. So it seems like the stock cars, as a whole, man, they're in a really good place right now.
No, I would agree. Obviously I've driven a stock car, and from a driver standpoint, it is such a blast.
Yeah.
The competition is stiff, but it's so close. It's just so much fun. And what you feel in the car is what people are seeing from the stands, or seeing from home via, Race on Texas.
Yeah.
It is, it doesn't get any better. It's side by side.
Yeah.
We saw that at Waco for the first 3 laps. The top 2 drivers just, not really throwing sliders, but they're crossing
wheeling
over.
Yeah.
One slides up a little bit, misses the groove. The other one cuts underneath. Go to the next turn, they're doing it again. It's just, that is racing, and that's what a fan wants to see.
That's it.
Whether it be a hammered down or a dry track, they want to see cars racing each other. They want to see them battle it out.
That's it.
And the stock cars, they do that. Week in and week out, and it doesn't really matter where you go. Short track, long track, it just doesn't matter. They put on a show. The package that IMCA has, I mean, all these years, they finally they've hit it. That 360 cubic inch with a 500 carburetor.
That's an asphalt street stock. Yep.
Yes, I mean, everything they've done to try to keep these cars from becoming modified.
Yeah.
It hasn't. The byproduct is that it's produced this show, and I mean,
that's it.
I've heard people say, "Oh, I wish they'd give us this and give you that," and I'm like, "Yeah,
No.
You get that, and it changes.
No.
It will change
ruins
the way these cars." Yeah.
Yep.
What's that saying? When it ain't broke, you don't fix it.
Right. Right. And that's always the problem. I mean, that's the one thing that I see with the factory stocks. It's like, give us more, and it's like, no. Hit the brake, and keep it good. And that's what the stock cars are. I mean, to me, that's the next one on the bucket list. I want to drive one of them bad bitches. That I think would be a lot of fun. Marcus, I do want to ask you, and we'll get into the nuts and bolts of the Harco Memorial. But dude, you back behind the mic, man. I was watching you on Friday night. How cool, man! You are a showman. Dude, I thought that I was a man of the people, to getting out there and talking to the crowd and all this stuff. But dude, you look like you're having a hell of a good time out there. I know you want to race, but you seem to be having a good time when you jump behind that mic right there at Heart of Texas Speedway.
Well, I appreciate that, Rodney. I really do. I did that for a while. Back in 2012, 2013, a little bit into 2014, and I got burnt out.
Yeah.
I was there every night, sometimes 2 nights a week, and you kind of lose that fire. I mean, that. And I'm sure it happens to a lot, not just announcers,
I totally
even promoters.
You get burnt out. You get burned out. Yeah.
You get into that, and you got all the, as an announcer, it always seems like you're the first person somebody comes to when they want to gripe.
Yep.
And it's like, whoa, dude, hey, I'm just the guy that talks. I didn't, so, you hear that enough through the year, and you don't get enough of what you just said. You don't get enough of that, make you feel good, like you're doing a good job kind of thing. You showed up, they paid you, you went home, and so, yeah, here lately, the few times I've done it, it's been nice to get back, behind the mic and just have fun. I mean, because as the announcer, that's your job too. You're
the
there
face
to keep the crowd,
that's right,
entertained. Especially in the downside. I had someone tell me today, they're like, they were glad I was announcing Friday when they had the light issue during the heat races, and they're like, because I probably would have watched a different track or something.
Yeah.
Had you not been there, because they normally no one would do any kind of talking, no one do any interaction. And I'm like, well, I mean, there's all kinds of things that go on, but not like I was doing anything. I was there that night strictly to announce. So
yeah,
what am I going to do? I'm going to go down there and announce.
Well, yeah. And Marcus, isn't that the one thing I think to where it gets guys like us to where being behind the wheel, I think that changes stuff. You can have guys that announce and do whatever, and there's a difference between announcing and broadcasting and then analyzing things. I mean, being behind the wheel, that really tends to make you a damn good announcer, I think.
I would agree. I wish I could get a couple of them together. Some friends of mine who have been racers, stock car racers of that, Eric Jones and Charles Cosper.
Yeah.
When I was back in the day announcing, I had them come announce several races with me, and it's like they're made together. They flow so well, and when you're with guys like that, like you're saying, it's already fun. It's just so much more fun. It is just
Yep.
It makes you want to be behind the mic. It makes you want to show up every week and talk about the races. But yes, I truly believe being a race car driver does enhance
Yeah, I know
that ability and that perspective, because you get to talk to the crowd or the people at home, what it really feels like in the race car. When something happens, you're not just telling them what you see,
and you can see it coming.
Them,
yeah, you see it coming.
Yeah. I won't talk about it, but I saw that one wreck happen in turn 3 and 4 coming a mile away.
That's it.
No
doubt.
But yeah.
And you've raced these guys. That's the other part. You race these guys, and it's like, I think I know what's going to happen here.
Yeah. And so, man, if some of those guys would just realize that everyone else knows they're fixing to do that,
right?
Oh man,
isn't that the weird part? I mean, a lot of shit could be avoided. But anyway, that's another story. So Marcus, wrap it up, dude. I mean, here it is, the 4th annual Harcrow Memorial. We've been pulling up the everything right there. $5,000 to win. You're going to have some of the best stock car racers at one of the best tracks in the country there at the heart of Texas. Wrap it up. Talk about all the folks that are making this happen. And I'm so proud for you and excited for you. I know it's always a emotional weekend for you with this race, and I'm just so damn glad that we're doing it on Independence Day weekend.
Yes, it is. And not to add some emotion to it, it's not really, I guess, public. So my dad has been on hospice now going on a month or two. And honestly, we haven't thought he'd make it to today. But for the last week or two, I have some older sisters that basically go and watch him during the day. And every day he asks them what day it is, because he has July 2nd on his mind. And he has told them July 1st, no matter what, he's going to Mama's memorial race. He's going. And he hasn't been to the races maybe once or twice this year, and he's one of the ones that's usually there every week. It's gonna be emotional.
Sure.
I'm obviously not gonna be in a race car. A little disappointed, but at the same time, I'm excited to be able to be on the backside. I'm going to be behind the mic Saturday. And so, that's all going to be cool. I'm going to get to announce my mama's race. We get to see my dad, hopefully in the pace truck, and lead the field around.
Yeah.
We're going to have the American flags, presented by all the drivers.
Yep.
We're just going to have one heck of a show, and it's going to be so cool. We're going to have a young man, Jaden Anderson. He's going to fire off those engines. Cool thing that Race on Texas and Southern SAS together with us worked on promoting. It's going to be a fun weekend. I hope that everyone comes out. Obviously, we got the greatest fireworks show, in the state.
That's right. Friday night.
Friday night. We'll have the fireworks on the track come Saturday. It's man, the weekend just sells itself. You can't get any better than what's going to happen this weekend at Waco. And I just encourage everyone to come out, bring your family, enjoy the show, and just remember, that's what we all are. We're all family. Baby Blue was my mama, but she's your sister, and someone else's mama. That's just the way the racing world works, especially at the dirt track. So,
yep.
come on out. You see anybody that is a sponsor of ours, tell them thank you.
Yeah.
Go like their Facebook page, send them an email, whatever it is, tell them thank you. Because without them, this race really isn't possible.
That's right.
And without the racers that have dedicated to coming to this every year, the other tracks that have, we've made schedule changes every year with other tracks to make sure that this race gets put on. I can't thank them enough for their help and their support. I went down to CBS this morning to pick up the trophy that Owen Pittman at 317 Awards. I got to thank him. He got that sent up to us, and I went down there to the track and spoke through Marianne through text and arranged for someone to meet me there, and I picked it up, and and after the weekend she had, she didn't have to reach out to me, back to me and say, oh yeah, you can come get it, or anything like that, but she didn't skip a beat, and it's promoters like that that help make this race possible.
Yeah.
Everyone really, Cotton Bowl, the folks up at KSP, Boyd's racing Friday, but they're not racing stock cars. Why? They're letting their stock cars come down here.
That's right.
And support us. Same thing with Southern Oklahoma. They're racing on Saturday, but they're not racing stock cars. Just unparalleled support throughout the racing community, and all to put on a race in my mama's name. That's just cool.
What a beautiful thing. Yeah, I love that. I think that is so great. And I got to tell you, man, after the conversations we've been having tonight, for you to bookend everything right there, that's what this sport is all about. Dude, you're one of my favorite people. I love you to death. This is always such a great event. So proud of what you've been able to work on right here and doing it at one of the great racetracks, man. I wish you all the best this weekend. Wish I could be there, but I'll be checking in with you, man. I'll be checking in with you, and congratulations, man. So proud of what you've built here with this.
I appreciate it, Rodney, and I appreciate you giving me the platform to,
for sure,
let people know and, encourage them to come out, and, maybe if nothing else, then a reality check of, life's short.
Mm-hmm.
Let's enjoy it. Let's spend time together as a, family, as a racing family, and remember that we're just here to have fun, and live the life that God's given us, and, spend it together, and, that's all we can do. There's no sense in harping on the negativity, and, just be a good person and have fun.
Yep. No doubt, my man. No doubt. All right, dude. Wishing you all the best. Looking forward to checking in and seeing how everything goes. Congratulations, and do it to it, man. It's going to be a great event right there at the heart of Texas Speedway.
Thank you, sir.
You bet, man. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye. There he goes. That right there, totally, I think that just kind of, from the way that the show started to the way the show is ending, there is your whole thing right there.
Full circle.
Yeah. It, with everything that happens right there, the emotions and everything that happens with the sport, we do this for fun. And again, what do you define as fun? I think that's the other thing that somebody asked me that a long time ago. It's like, so what do you define as fun? And the 25-year-old me answered that a hell of a lot different than I did, once I was 40. What do you define as fun? And I think that's the one thing that you guys, you people watching this and that are going to catch a podcast, this is where you need to think about this, because going around being pissed off at each other and slaying each other on Facebook and knocking people out and doing all this other stuff, that to me is not fun. And to me, that just makes us all look really bad. And I know we talked about that a while ago. And again, it's not personal. It is not personal. I know that we all get caught up in the moment, but at some point you got to dial that shit back. I mean, because we are not doing this. We are not doing this for a living. We're doing this supplemental as a hobby, and losing money most of the time. I think how many times have we said this? We've got to get better. And talking to Marcus right there, doing that for his mom. That's a gut wrencher right there, and that's a slap in the face and a kick in the nuts right there, to where we all have to get better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean it's it's somebody that's stepping out, and he's taking on the role as a promoter. He loves this race. It's very personal. Got a great connection to him. But the race keeps getting bigger and bigger. A race is getting to a certain stature when the racetracks work together to let a class off.
Yeah.
That's when you know that an event is becoming, it's more than a race, it becomes an event. And after the couple of years of that, this Hardcore Memorial is definitely doing that. When you get tracks working as far away as southern Oklahoma, that's huge. No telling how many cars will be there. So it should be one hell of a show. If you can't be there live to support it, our friends at Race on Texas will be up there supporting it as well.
Yeah, they'll have it. And the whole thing is, if you're not going there, I mean, get to a racetrack. And that's the one thing right now. I mean, I know it's hot. I mean, you and I were standing out there at Edna this past weekend, and my goodness, it was hot. And there were so many people that came out to yet just sit and watch and just be a part of that. And that's the main thing, because we are doing a service here to a lot of folks and this is where I go back to what I'm so tired of happening, and folks checking in right there with there's a lot of things going on. I mean, I know 105 has the American Crate late models that are going to be racing, and you'll be at HMP.
We'll both be at the Houston Oval, yeah.
We'll dive in there. Patriots on Pavement. I mean, all of that happening. I mean, just get out and show some support. And here's the whole thing. Let's all make a goal for this Sunday. And I know it's a holiday weekend, so we'll push this into Monday. Let's make the day after the event not be so freaking dramatic. Because that's the one thing that seems to mess up everything. Yes, we talked about Cotton Bowl Speedway, and we'll talk about it again. Everything that happened right there. There's so many variables, and we are not here to hear the different sides of what happened. The bottom line, it was a black eye. It's a black eye to our sport. Whether you're a NASCAR fan or whatever, all the stereotypes that we have about our sport. You guys, when we have things like that, we're adding to the fire. We're adding to the fire because we make ourselves look bad, and we're better. We're better than that. We are better than that. And it goes back to don't. And this is not Marianne, not HE, not anybody in particular. If you have a problem, I mean, go talk to them. Go talk to them. I mean, don't blow them up on social media. And don't go lay hands on them. That to me that's the worst part. That's uncalled for in my opinion.
Yeah, and the easiest way to think about it, as we said before, call a promoter. They will pick up their phone, almost guaranteed, and they will have a civil conversation with you.
Yeah, and they are doing this for you. They're doing this for you. I guarantee you, Owen Pittman, our friends up north. I mean Selby. I mean and Marianne. I mean, nobody is doing this to break the bank. They are doing this for the love of the sport and to give us the opportunity to Cord Beard. I mean, just giving us chances to do what we love. Yeah. And you got to respect that. You got to respect that, and just be civil. Just be civil. That's the one thing where the sport drives me crazy to where it's gotten so out of hand. I saw Tim Sewell post on there that one of the worst things that he regrets was something that he did. And that's where when you look back at it, I mean, we've all done stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
And
we've all been there.
Yeah, but when you go back and look at that, I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong. It's just we've got to be better. We've got to be better because at some point Because my first, like I said earlier, if you missed it, my first thought was when I saw everything that happened there at the Cotton Bowl, I'm like, ooh, shit. You and I were a part of the whole discussion when Marianne and HE decided to be a part of Cotton Bowl Speedway.
Yeah.
It was a very late, intoxicated night. You and I, not them, at Five Flag Speedway.
Five Flag Speedway when we found out about it.
And they're like, we're doing this. And I'm like, are you stupid? And they said, yes, we are. At some point, these people are going to get tired of the bullshit. And then y'all are going to be like, well, I sure miss ABC Speedway. Well, you did it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we all got to be better. All got to be better. Man, was this church or was this the Revved Up Sports Show?
Well, we always have a message.
This show is always church, man. This show is always church. This show is always church because that's what we do. We try to bring people back together, try to ground people down. And again, this show was not about right versus left, so to speak. I mean, this against this. I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong. I don't give a shit. But the bad thing is, Saturday was a black eye, and we all have to be better.
That's right. Be
Bottom
better,
line.
do better,
Bottom line.
and try harder.
Bottom line. Keep this thing alive because when it's gone, your ass going to be out there bowling or golfing and fishing and be like, well, I sure would like to go racing. Well, you had your chance, but you pissed it away.
Anyway, we'll be in Houston for the Patriots on pavement. So whatever you do, whether it's pavement, dirt, drag racing, boat racing, get your ass to a racetrack because you never know when they're going to go away.
That's right. All the podcast at RevvedUpSportsShow.com. He's Bobby. I'm Rodney. You guys have a great 4th of July weekend. Go find a short track and find some streaming if you can't get there. Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, right.
Totally uncalled for.
Hey,
All right.
racers, Phil Whipple here again.